time to come and share this news story. Without further ado, I'll go ahead and let Chief Wellman take it.
Y'all hear me without the mic?
Okay.
Yeah.
I said thank you for everybody for coming this morning. I do want to take you back a few years real quick to 2017, when this community was shaken, when there was a baby dropped off in a restroom opposite I-75 just south of Ocala. Thankfully, that baby was retrieved in time before it was too late. At the time, there was conversation of Station 1, Ocala Fire Rescue Unit headquarters being built in that year. And as the plans were being drawn, the thought of having a resource that could help stop that from happening was thought about. And that's when Safe Haven Baby Box became an idea to put in the new station. So in December of 2020, the station was completed and the Safe Haven Baby Box was installed at Ocala Fire Rescue headquarters, new station number 1 here in Ocala. Which brings us to today, and while we're here, for the first, to announce the first surrender of its kind in the state of Florida, for Ocala, obviously also. I would be remiss not to acknowledge those who all played a role in this and performed flawlessly, in essence, helping to save this baby's life. I'd like to thank the crews of Ocala Fire Rescue who cared for this baby from the second they laid eyes on it, responding from the station within where the baby box is located. I'd like to thank the dispatchers at Ocala Police Department who got the information to the responders in time when they received the alarm from the baby box. And I'd like to thank Marion County Fire Rescue for transporting this baby to the hospital. Everything occurred without a glitch. The process, the procedure worked. And I am proud to work with such an efficient team. Thank you.
Well, good morning. My name is Monica Kelsey. I am the founder and current CEO of Safe Haven Baby Boxes. We are the only organization in America that is literally saving babies in boxes at fire stations and hospitals, and in some states, volunteer fire stations. This happens to be the 23rd newborn that has been safely and legally surrendered in one of our baby boxes. And we've also had 125 babies that were handed to personnel at fire stations through our 800 hotline number. And some of those babies were actually handed over at baby box locations. So our focus is always to get these babies into the arms of personnel, but if they won't, then of course the baby box is the next step. I get asked all the time, why are you holding a press conference for a why are you holding a press conference for a program that is supposed to be anonymous? And I want to answer that today. I want people to understand why we do this. And it's not to pat Ocala Fire on the back. Ocala Fire doesn't need patted on the back. They do an amazing job here in your community. The first thing that we want is we want to address the parent who legally surrendered this infant. And right now I'm going to talk directly to her or him. Thank you. Thank you for keeping your child safe. Thank you for bringing your child to a place that you knew was going to take care of this child. And thank you for doing what you felt was best. There's many options that you could have chosen, and I'm sure this was not an easy option to choose. But I want you to know that we're honoring you today, because I hope you find peace in knowing that your child is safe, your child is healthy, and your child will be placed with a set of adoptive parents if it hasn't already. So know that the process has worked, and I want you to find peace in what decision you've made. Another reason why we talk and hold a press conference is education. We are a nonprofit organization. We don't make millions of dollars to be able to do ads on television. So when there is a surrender like this, people want to hold on to hope. Our organization has brought hope out of abandonment. This baby wasn't abandoned. This baby was anonymously, legally, safely, and lovingly surrendered at Ocala Fire. And to be able to educate people on this option is critical. And so that is why we are here today. We want to thank the media for coming and spreading the reach to your viewers that we can't reach on our level. Another reason why we do this is so that people in the community know that this box worked exactly as it was designed. The fire department did exactly what they were trained to do. This went flawlessly from start to finish. This child is going to find a set of adoptive parents very soon if the parents have not already been chosen. So the process is working, and we want these parents who find themselves in this situation to know that this works if you need to utilize this resource. Most of you guys know that I was abandoned as an infant back in 1973. I wasn't legally, I wasn't anonymously, I wasn't safely, and I wasn't lovingly surrendered. But this baby was. And I hope this mother finds peace in her decision. There are so many resources available to this parent. They can contact the numbers on the box, the numbers on our website. It's 1-866-99-BABY-1. They can get so many resources through this 800 number. So if you need resources, counseling, medical, contact us. We want to walk alongside you on this journey. We don't want you to walk alone. Thank you.
Morning. My name is Kent Gwynn. I'm the mayor of Ocala. So I don't know that I could add a lot to what Monica stated. I know that we talked about this, and I didn't realize it was 2020. It wasn't that long ago. Monica called me in the morning, or sent me a text, communicated with me, and told me that, you know, we're excited about the baby that was in the box. And I was, wow, that really happened. And, you know, I told her, I said, you know, we knew this was going to happen. We just didn't know when. But we're so thankful, as Monica said, you know, for that mother to make that decision to safely adopt that baby. And you think, and you don't know that it was the mother, but whoever it was, that's a tough decision to make. But they know that that baby was going to be taken care of and was going to have a better life. And as Monica stated, when we installed this, we all talked about how this was going to work, and it worked exactly the way it was supposed to work. So I want to thank the Ocala firefighters and everyone that was involved in our contacts at Ocala Police Department, you know, for the work that they did. We talked about how this actually happened. We were talking with the legislators about getting this placed in the law, and I think there was a lot of effort there, and it lasted for maybe a couple of years before it came about. But the fact is, it didn't come about. It was never passed. And you know, I had mentioned, I said, well, look, I said, there's no law that said you can't do it, right? So we passed a local ordinance to do it, and that's how we did it. So my recommendation, excuse me, to other counties and cities around the state of Florida would be pass your own local ordinance and do this. And I'm sure they're going to be with what Monica's doing and getting the word out, and what we're doing here today. I'm sure there are going to be a lot more people that are interested in this around the state of Florida and wanting to do this. So with that, I don't know if Monica wants to answer any questions or anything, but I'm sorry, I didn't see Councilman Hilty's name on here, but this is our council president, Jim Hilty, and he'd like to say a few words. Thank you.
I just really, on the behalf of the Perseverance, because it's this may be the first step for Ocala. As you said, there was 23. Hopefully there'll be many more. And the words of encouragement that you brought to these people today hopefully will transfer out to the community and make it aware that this is a really safe and wonderful operation, and it truly is the best choice. And in the words of Mr. Rogers, it's a great day in the neighborhood when something like this happens to this community. So thank you very much.
I'll open it up to any questions, but don't ask gender and don't ask date or time. But any other questions, I'll be happy to answer.
How long is the baby in the actual box?
Say that again?
How long is the baby in the actual box?
So when the baby is placed on, when the mom or dad opens the outside door, an immediate signal is going out. When baby's placed inside, the outside door actually locks, and firefighters are already getting notified. Average time for babies in our boxes are right at about 1.5 minutes.
And then what's the kind of condition inside the box when the baby's in there? You said it locks, so what is the conditions in the box?
So there is a heater compartment in the inside, so it keeps it at a nice temperature. But there's also a medical bassinet. And so what you see in the NICU at hospitals is what you'll see on the inside of this baby box. So this baby was placed lovingly in this bassinet. And then when fire personnel get to the box, they can either take the whole bassinet out and head for an ambulance, or they can just scoop up the newborn and head for an ambulance. So either way, we've made it to where it's easy for them to retrieve the child and do immediate medical care.
Can you talk about what inspired the design of the box? How did you come up with the idea?
You know, I was actually speaking to Cape Town, South Africa, where I was speaking at a church, the only church in Cape Town. There's hundreds of churches in Cape Town, but this church happened to have a baby safe, is what they called it. And I'm a firefighter and a medic. I retired in 2019, so I knew about the Safe Haven law, but I had never seen anything like this before. It has never been done in America. And so as I'm walking into this church, I see this, and I'm like, what is this and what is it used for? And they said, well, women bring their hair at night because they don't want to talk to anyone. And for fear of feeling judged or feeling shame. Shut the front door, like, is this really a thing? And they had saved many babies in that box. And so on the flight back from Cape Town, South Africa on a Delta napkin, I hand drew my version of the baby box, which has went through many prototypes, to what you have today. It is now a patented device, and we're working now on our UL listing, our underwriter's laboratory listing. So we are taking all the necessary steps to ensure that these boxes are here for a very long time.
And then just to clarify, there's been 23 since it started in 2017.
November of 2017, the very first infant was placed in Cold Springs Fire Department's baby box, and we've had 23, with this infant being the 23rd in the nation.
And then this is the first one in Florida.
This is the only box in Florida, and this is the very first baby that was ever surrendered anonymously. Now remember, the Safe Haven law has been around in Florida for many years, where you had to walk in and hand your child to a person. What I have developed is a way for them to do this anonymously. And so this is the very first infant that has ever been anonymously surrendered. So no one knows this parent. They don't know if they're black or white. They don't know if it was a man or female that walked up to that baby box. That's the beauty of the baby box. It's anonymous. And so this is the very first baby box in Florida and the very first surrender. This box went 760, 770 days of being live before it had its first newborn.
And
How many
then-
locations do you have throughout the country?
Yesterday I was in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Flights were delayed. Don't get on flights right now, just so you know. But yesterday I was in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and that was the 134th baby box in the nation. I believe, Mr. Mayor, you were 66? Were you I think this was the 66th location in America, and I just yesterday blessed 134.
And we're the only one in the state right
You
now.
were the only one in the state of Florida. So it's interesting too, because I did some research on our hotline numbers. So we run this 24-hour hotline, and it's national. Last year from just Florida, we took 114 calls from Florida, from parents wanting to know about the baby box or how to surrender an infant. And if we're getting those calls, 114, and we only have one box here, I mean, just think about, you know, the impact that we could have if we had, you know, more locations.
Two quick things, if
Yeah.
you will. One, if personnel happen, I mean, people are living in the firehouse, if they happen to see people, they told to move away, not to interfere?
Well, the Safe Haven law allows a parent to be confidential if they see or they talk to someone, and then of course anonymous. We don't want to approach these parents. I actually had, we actually, when we hold these press conferences, my goal is that this parent contacts me. I want to walk alongside her. My birth mom did not have anyone back in 1973 to walk alongside her. I want to be this person that walks alongside this mother. So that's why I'm here today, is to reach out to her. But when you look at this as a whole, these parents, this is the worst day of their life. This was not an easy decision for her. Well, one of the parents actually contacted us, one of the 23 parents, and I'm actually very good friends with her. And I asked her one time, why did you not walk into the fire station and hand the child to a person? And she did not call us prior to surrendering. And she said something that I've never forgotten. She said, I didn't want them talking me out of a decision that took me so long to make. And that really shaped the idea of how anonymity matters. It matters to some. Some women will still, or men will still walk in and hand the child to a person. But for one parent that safely and legally surrendered in one of our boxes to say, I didn't want to be talked out of it, I was afraid that was gonna happen. Us as firefighters, and I think the chief would agree with me, we wanna help. If a woman walks up and hands us a child, the first thing we wanna do is try and help in some way. And these parents have gained every ounce of courage to walk up to this firehouse. They don't wanna sit and have coffee with these guys. Anonymity does matter to some, so it's.
Last thing, real quick,
Yeah.
Have all the children that have been surrendered to the boxes been adopted, and what's the average time to get into an adopted home?
So, all but one has been adopted. We had one of our babies that was, placed back with the, parent, the biological parent, which is an option. A parent does have so much time to come back before the termination of parental rights happens. So all of them have been adopted. Obviously, this one is in the process. But the babies are placed with their forever families within 30 days. In the state of Florida, it's a little bit different because they can be placed with their forever families pretty much when they leave the hospital. And then the adoptive parents have that waiting period if the parent comes back. And then the paperwork and stuff, probably 4 to 6 months. The baby is with their forever families immediately, and that's what's important.
What is that process to get to, how do families know that do they know it's coming from the box, or is this baby in the foster care or adoptive system just as any other baby would be?
All of the babies that we have relationships with their adoptive families, the parents know where they were placed. So that's the Department of Child Services would be in charge of letting them know everything that they possibly know. Like some of our babies come with notes. I'm not saying that Ocala baby came with notes, that's not what I'm saying at all. But some of them, these mothers place notes in these boxes and give information. Those notes go to the adoptive parents. One of our babies had a blanket, they were wrapped in a blanket, the adoptive parents have a blanket. So most of what we get is what we give to the hospital or to DCS, and then of course it's then given to the adoptive parents. Because that, to some, is important. I was adopted and I got to meet my biological mother when I was 37. But for some kids it's important to have just a connection somewhere. And I think that's important to give everything that they come with so that they have later in life when they learn their story.
As we continue to grow, did you have any more locations within Florida that we're looking at potentially?
We have some locations in Florida that we're looking at. I don't want to release those locations, but the best thing that we can do right now is educate on the safe haven law. It is at every fire station in the state of Florida. You will have to walk in and hand your child to a person. But if a location is wanting to do the box program, they can contact us. But today is about educating the public on the law itself here in Florida, the safe haven law, and then of course addressing the parenthood.
When the baby's box,